Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto X Thalia Grace, part 3, the last part. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Naruto, are you a demigod? Bianca asked, with Andromeda, Annabeth, and Thalia also wondering this. Since it made sense, given his backstory. A mother that leaves right after he's born, while not knowing who she is, with his parents being killed, likely by monsters. Before learning about her from his father's journal, and then going off to find her. It'd also explain why Chaos would choose Naruto as his champion, if he's the son of a powerful goddess. Only for that theory to be ended when Naruto scoffed, and shook his head. No, I was 100% human, before I was turned into a Saiyan. But I'm sure that she likes to believe she's a goddess. Naruto said, darkly while clenching his fists, making them shiver at seeing the anger and rage on his face. Did you find her? Asked Neko, not noticing the tension from Naruto's expression. Yes, I found her, and got the answers I wanted. She left, because the only thing I got from her was these. Said Naruto while pointing at his whiskers. Your whiskers? Annabeth said, with Naruto nodding. While she wasn't an actual goddess, she wasn't human either. The only reason she even got with my father was to have an heir to inherit her powers. But instead she got me, who had none of her powers, and only whisker marks, like hers. Then she just left because I didn't like her. Said Naruto icily, while restraining his anger at remembering meeting his birth mother. And, it was after that you met Chaos? Thalia asked, getting over her nervousness at seeing Naruto's anger. Well, they had seen it against Artemis after she tried attacking Bianca. Now though, there wasn't any specific target that it was directed at least not one nearby. So, they were understandably nervous that he may just unleash his anger at anything or anyone near him. Yeah, it was after I left, not really knowing where I was supposed to go next, that I met Chaos in a dream. Replied Naruto, remembering when he first met Zamasu. Flashback. When Naruto opened his eyes, he looked around in shock when he saw that rather than the forest that he had set up camp in after meeting her. He was now in the middle of a destroyed city, with hardly anything left standing, and what was still standing was in complete ruins. What could have done this? And how did I get here? Naruto thought, wondering what being could have caused such destruction, along with how he ended up here in the first place. That would be my doing. Or at least, the doing of who I once was. Said a dual-tone voice surprising Naruto, before he whirled around to see who it was, only for his eyes to widen at the being he saw. It was a tall adult man, with shockingly green skin, stark white hair with long bangs hanging over the right side of his face, grey eyes, green, and gold earrings, a ring on his right index finger, and wearing what looked like black combat robes with red edgings, and a red sash. The fact he was also floating in the air was also a shock for Naruto. Who are you? Naruto asked in disbelief. Sure, he now knew there were many magical and supernatural beings in the world, thanks to his father's journal, but this being seemed to take the cake in strangeness. I have become known by many names and titles over the millennia I've been alive. Chaos, the Void, the First Deity, Primordial of the Void, Goku Black, and so many others. But I have always preferred my original name, Zamasu. Replied Zamasu, with Naruto's eyes widening in shock and a little fear. Chaos. As in the first primordial in Greek mythology, that chaos. Naruto asked, nervously at the idea of being in the presence of such a being. The very same. Though I am loath to be connected to those creatures, who are lower than the filthiest of mortals, and a stain on my creation. Spat Zamasu, as he lowered himself to the ground, while Naruto gulped. And why are you here? What do you want with me? Naruto asked, fearful that he was going to die, while Zamasu began circling while holding his hands behind his back. Tell me, young Naruto Uzumaki, you have experienced much in your short life. Having to witness your parents be murdered, learning your true origins, being rejected, and abandoned by your birth mother. Now you are lost, in a cruel world without purpose, without power, without anything. Said Zamasu, with Naruto clenching his fists in anger. What of it? Naruto demanded, unable to suppress his anger at everything he's lost, and what happened with his birth mother, not caring if Zamasu did kill him for being disrespectful, while the primordial smirked at the fire within the boy. What would you do, if you had the power to do anything? Zamasu asked, making Naruto pause at the question. The power to do anything? Thought Naruto, frowning, and looking down, before his anger returned. If I had the power to do anything, I'd show that woman what real power is, and hunt down the bastards who killed my parents, to make them pay. Said Naruto, making Zamasu smirk widen before he stopped in front of Naruto, and held out his hand. Then take my hand, and you shall have the power you seek. Take it, and together we will create a better world. Zamasu said, with Naruto looking at the offered hand. I couldn't really care about making a better world, but if you're offering power, I'll take it. Said Naruto while grabbing Zamasu's hand. He couldn't care less about making the world better or anything like that. No, he only cared about revenge and payback. Then flashback, and he did get his revenge, having hunted down all those responsible for the death of his parents, while slaughtering each and everyone. But not before making them watch, as he ripped apart everything and everyone they cared about, in as many pieces as he could, wanting them all to suffer before they died. And when they finally died, they died screaming for mercy. As for his birth mother, Naruto's waiting to see her again, wanting to become strong enough to where he could beat her into the ground, and show her just how pathetic her power is compared to his. To make her see that the weak human son she abandoned had reached a level she could never hope to reach. It was also after accepting Zamasu's offer and becoming his champion that the Primordial had turned him into a Saiyan Shinjin hybrid, giving Naruto access to all the power he had when he was still separated into Goku Black and future Zamasu, which pleased the newly turned hybrid after hearing the power he could one day achieve. While for Zamasu's plan to create a perfect utopia by wiping out the gods, monsters, creatures, and humans that deserved it, Naruto never really cared about any of that, only caring about his revenge and payback, along with protecting his loved ones after meeting Bianca and Neko. It was only after his encounter with Artemis that Naruto became fully on board with the plan, if only to not have to deal with the gods constantly on his tail. Not that they could really do anything to him, but if they did anything to hurt the people he cared about, nothing would stop Naruto from destroying the entire planet, as well as every god and goddess along with it. After that, Chaos began training me to use Kai and my Saiyan power, helping me grow stronger until not even gods could stand against me, said Naruto to the demigods, while omitting a few details, like Zamasu's true plans. Given that he did trust all of them, he knew they still had some loyalty to their godly parents, and wouldn't agree with the idea of turning against, and very likely, killing them. Naruto simply wanted to have them see the truths of the gods before he tells them his plans. Though given Bianca's own research into the gods, she's probably the safest option to tell right now, since she already knows what they're like. But he'll still wait until he can see all of them, so they don't feel hurt that Bianca knew before them. While the demigods looked at him with wide eyes, having a hard time believing what they just heard, but also feeling pity for what Naruto went through. I'm sorry to hear what your birth mother did. And I know the feeling of being disappointed and hating a mother, Thalia said, being able to sympathize with Naruto, given her own bitter relationship with her mother, and having to leave home at such a young age. Said Annabeth, remembering when she ran away from home, while knowing they had different circumstances, and being on your own. But at least for Annabeth, she had eventually been found by Thalia and Luke, while Naruto had no one. And losing your parents, Andromeda added, remembering when she thought she lost her mother to the Minotaur, after arriving at Camp Half-Blood. Thank you, but well, there are some things I wish I could change. They did make me into the person I am, and I'm perfectly fine with that, replied Naruto, knowing that while he was dealt a bad hand, the hardships he endured turned him into who he is now. Plus, it helps that it led to me meeting such visions of beauty like you five, so I can't really complain, now can I? Naruto added with a smirk, while winking at the girls, making them gain different levels of blushes at his words, while Thalia returned the smirk. How about I show you just how beautiful I can be? Replied Thalia slyly, making the other girls glare at her. Thalia, said Annabeth, not believing her friend's lack of shame. All of you are thinking it, I'm just saying it, Thalia accused, making their blushes intensify. Yeah, well, I've known him longer, so I should get him first, said Bianca, making the girls glare at her now, while Neko gagged. I was there when he woke up after being shot, Annabeth said, while wanting to be more modest. She also wasn't willing to let the others get ahead of her. He looks at my butt the most, so ha, stated Andromeda, while hiding her embarrassment having to admit that. Ladies, you're all beautiful, so there's no need to fight. Besides, I'd be happy to please all of you at once, Naruto said while smirking, as all their faces turned bright red, but also exchanging looks with each other. And like that, I'm out of here, muttered Neko before vanishing into the shadows, having no interest in seeing anything he didn't want to see happen. Later, Artemis's cabin. Artemis tossed and turned in her bed within her cabin, given she would sometimes stay here occasionally, whenever her hunters stayed at camp. Currently, the moon goddess was having yet another nightmare, having been having them ever since Naruto's verbal assault on her, and having her sins concerning Callisto thrown back in her face. With Artemis reliving the day over and over again, when she discovered Callisto's pregnancy and what happened to her. How she cursed her former lieutenant, casting her out of the hunters, telling her to run, as she and her former sisters would hunt her down if they came across her. Then turning her into a bear, leaving her alone and scared, not even caring about all the time they spent together, as sisters and friends. That's when the dreams would take a turn for the worse, as Artemis would then be forced to watch, as Callisto was hunted day after day by hunters, both her own hunters and regular ones. Always being on the run, out of fear of being killed, before finally giving birth to her son, but having to leave him. Then the dreams became even worse, with the goddess then being forced to relive the day again, only rather than Callisto, it was a different hunter. Each and every time she relived the day, it was a different hunter. And she still cursed them, just like she did Callisto, not caring who they were or how long they'd been with her. Only that they broke their oaths to her, with even Zoe and Phoebe not being safe, as they were cursed and hunted down, as well. And they all ended the same way, with Artemis finding herself on her knees before her hunters, past and present ones, all glaring hatefully at her, cursing her just like she did them. Before she's turned into an animal herself, before hunted down and killed, just like they were. All for breaking her own oath to them, to protect them. With her dream soon reaching that point, only for Artemis to then, mercifully, find herself somewhere else. Opening her eyes, Artemis couldn't deny her relief, when rather than in front of her hunters, she was on the familiar island of Delos, the birthplace of her and her brother. But the goddess already knowing why she was here, rather than still trapped in her nightmare, since this is where she and Apollo always conversed with each other, back when they were still young gods. Now rarely meeting each other here in their dreams, given their responsibilities, and her distaste for her brother's skirt chasing. Only doing so, if one of them had something vitally important to tell the other. Apollo, I don't know why you contacted me, but I'm Artemis said while looking around for her brother, not knowing what he needed to tell her, only thankful that he pulled her out of that nightmare. Only for the goddess to gasp in shock when she saw her brother and took in his appearance. For starters, he looked weak, weaker than she's ever seen him, comparable to when he fought Python. Hey lil sis. Sorry if I don't look so good. Apollo said while panting tiredly with a strained smile, as Artemis rushed over to him, not even bothering to reprimand him for calling her his little sister. What happened? Where are you? Asked Artemis, as Apollo grimaced while his form flickered. It was my fault that I tried to regain my foresight to see the future again. I got captured. I tried contacting you, but I'm losing strength. Apollo said, as his form flickered again, using what little power he had to contact his sister now. Captured by who? Where are you? I'll come get you. Artemis said urgently, needing to know where he was to save him. Atlas, Apollo muttered before vanishing in a flash of light. No? Artemis shouted, as she woke up, before the goddess immediately sprung up, and began gathering her equipment, while the door to her room burst open, revealing Zoe, and several other hunters wielding their bows or knives. My lady. What happened? Was there an attack? Did that male try something? Zoe said, as they looked around for the source of what made Artemis shout, only to see Artemis getting dressed in her normal attire, and gathering her weapons. No time to explain, Apollo's been captured, and I need to go save him. Shield your eyes, said Artemis, as she quickly grabbed her bow, preparing to teleport, and didn't want to blind her hunters. The girls do so while Artemis teleports away in waves of light. Or that's what she was going to do, only for the moon goddess to look down at herself in confusion, seeing she wasn't teleporting away, before she tried again. But got the same response, as nothing happened. I can't teleport. Why can't I teleport? Artemis thought before rushing out of the cabin, and heading for the exit to camp, with some of her hunters following her with confused looks on their faces. Though when Artemis reached the edge of the barrier, and tried walking through it, she was horrified when she couldn't. The goddess pushed against the barrier, only to find it was like pushing against a solid wall, she couldn't get through. Lady Artemis, what's happening? One of the hunters asked, though Artemis didn't hear them, as she looked at the barrier in disbelief and horror, before immediately taking off towards the big house. Dionysus, wake up now, and open the door. Artemis demanded while banging loudly and rapidly on the door to wake her brother up, needing to know why she can't get through the barrier. Why do you want? Said Mr. D, opening the door to glare at his sister, annoyed at the banging. Why can't I get through the barrier? Said Artemis, needing to know how she could get through the barrier. Oh, that. You can't. Mr. D said with a shrug, while Artemis's eyes glowed silver. I'm aware, I want to know why. Artemis growled. Because dear old dad figured you might try skipping out on your punishment, so he made it so you can't leave camp. Revealed Mr. D, much to Artemis's horror. But I have to leave. Apollo's in danger. Said Artemis, with the wine god rolling his eyes. I'm sure he's fine, probably got rejected by some nymph or mortal, and is currently sulking about it. Mr. D said with a shrug. Good night, Artemis. Said Mr. D before closing the door in her face, as Artemis looked on in disbelief at how he dismissed the thought of Apollo being captured. Even more so, that her father actually trapped her here in Camp Half-Blood to watch over Chaos's champion. And without the Oracle to give out quests, she couldn't hope for any demigods to be able to go save Apollo, while doubting that any of them could stand a chance, if Atlas is really free. Meaning her only option of who could save her brother, is the last person Artemis wanted to speak to. But if she wanted to save her brother, then Artemis didn't have a choice, and needed to speak with Naruto. Return to the cabin, girls, I'll be there shortly. Artemis said before walking off towards Naruto's cabin, while the hunters looked at her in worry, but did, as she said. When Artemis reached Naruto's cabin, she slowly raised her hand, and knocked on the door, not wanting to do this, but needed to if she had any hope of saving her brother. With the door soon opening, revealing a boxer-clad Naruto with a light sheen of sweat on his body. A sight that made Artemis blush, and look away, due to being caught off guard by his current attire. But didn't say anything, especially since what she would have normally said in a situation like this, probably wouldn't do her any favors in getting his help. Upon seeing the goddess, Naruto couldn't help but groan, as he wondered what she could have wanted. What do you want, moon brat? If you're looking for another beatdown, come back in the morning. Naruto said, about to close the door, only to stop when Artemis spoke. I need your help. Artemis said quickly, with Naruto stopping, as he opened the door again, looking at her in intrigue and amusement. Do you need my help? After how your hunters shot me when you tried to kill me. Well, blowing a hole open in my chest, I might add. As well as after how you tried to kill Bianca, and then your hunters tried killing me again. Why in every single hell in existence should I help you? Said Naruto, actually amused that Artemis thought she could ask just him for help with anything, after what she's done. Honestly, even if none of that stuff happened, he still wouldn't help her after everything else she's done throughout history. With Artemis flinching at the accusations, knowing he likely wouldn't help her, but knew she needed to convince him somehow. Please, Apollo has been captured by Atlas, and is likely holding up the sky, as we speak. I can't save him because I can't teleport or leave camp due to my punishment. But you can still leave, you could save him. Please, I'm begging that you save my brother. Artemis pleaded, not caring about her pride, only that she couldn't let Apollo suffer from holding up the sky any longer. Since only Atlas was capable of holding up the sky forever, and while Apollo was a powerful god, as well as the most powerful son of Zeus at that, even he would grow tired and weak from holding up the sky. And if he stayed under it for too long, Artemis was actually afraid that he may fade. Naruto looked at Artemis neutrally before leaning into her. And how many sisters lost their brothers because of the crimes that the both of you had committed against humanity? Retorted Naruto coldly, making Artemis flinch. The sun god can rot under the sky for eternity for all I care. Maybe then, you can feel some of the pain that you've inflicted on who knows how many people. Naruto said, before slamming the door in her face, and headed back to his bedroom, where he was greeted to the sight of asleep Thalia, Bianca, Annabeth, and Andromeda. All of them were naked, as the day they were born, while sporting blissful and satisfied smiles on their faces. It's unlikely she'll stop until you change your mind. Stated Zamasu speaking to Naruto, with the whiskered nodding. Yeah, but I'm still not going to help. This simply saves me the trouble of killing Apollo later, while giving me the chance to get rid of another Titan. Naruto mentally replied, having fully intended to kill most of the Titans, including Atlas, while finding another way to keep the sky held up. Indeed. But I have an assignment for you. Zamasu said, catching Naruto's attention, since it's rare for the Primordial to have an assignment for him. Where am I going? Asked Naruto, while being slightly annoyed that he can't rejoin the girls back in bed, but knew that if Zamasu is giving him a mission, then this took priority over a post-sex slumber with his new fuck buddies. London, to recruit a possible ally, but first you'll have to free them, as they had been sealed away for nearly 200 years. Zamasu replied mysteriously, with Naruto raising a brow, but nodded, as he went to get dressed. Eventually heading out onto the deck, Naruto took off into the air, flying out of Camp Half-Blood, and heading straight for London. Later, once Naruto arrived in London, it was only beginning to turn into night, with the Saiyan frowning, as he began sensing a large amount of godly energy, one that was identical to Artemis's own. So whoever was sealed away, was done so by the Moonbrat. How unsurprising. Naruto thought, knowing whoever was sealed away, likely didn't deserve, and was either deemed a threat by the gods, or did something to anger Artemis, leading to them being sealed away. The only surprising part being they were sealed away rather than being turned into an animal, a monster, or was simply killed by her. Following the source, Naruto soon found himself at an old, abandoned hospital that looked like it hadn't been used for decades. Entering the building, Naruto followed the energy until he soon arrived at the basement, soon finding a large glowing silver circle on the far wall. Placing his hand on it, Naruto frowned at the power that he sensed put into the seal, meaning that whoever was behind here was definitely powerful. The Saiyan then channeled his own power into it, causing the circle to turn a dark purple color, before it dissolved into particles of light. With the wall then collapsing before revealing a hidden chamber, and at the center of the chamber was something that truly angered him. It was a young girl, probably the same age or even younger than Naiko was, with short white hair, and stitched up scars on her face. Along with the fact that she was bound in a straitjacket, while having numerous shackles and chains wrapped around her, that were attached to the wall, floor, and ceiling. Making it basically impossible for her to move if she was conscious. They're definitely going to suffer before they die. Naruto thought, knowing those responsible for this will suffer. Going over to the girl, Naruto ripped the shackles and chains off of her, before tearing off the straitjacket as well. With the Saiyan raising a brow when he saw her attire, being only a black vest, black panties, and black stockings with pink shoes, while both her arms are bandaged, with only her left hand wearing a glove. She also has a purple oval-shaped O on each of her shoulders. And at the small of her back, she carries a number of sheaths that hold her knives. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Thought Naruto, confused by her attire, and wondering who'd let a little girl wear something like that, along with being shocked when he checked one of the knives, and saw it was made of Stygian iron. The girl's eyes then fluttered open, revealing they were greenish-yellow color with slit pupils. With the girl looking tiredly up at Naruto, who smiled kindly at her. Hey, it's alright, you're free now. Naruto said softly, as the girl looked around. Free? muttered the girl, whose voice was scratchy and hoarse from disuse. Yeah, you're free. What's your name? Naruto asked, with the girl snuggling into him and closing her eyes. Jack, her name is Jack. Jack muttered. It's nice to meet you, Jack. And if it's alright, could I do something to see what happened to you? Questioned Naruto, wanting to look into her mind to find out more about her and what happened to her. Okay, thank you, big brother, Jack said before falling asleep, with Naruto being surprised by her words. Though he shook it off and placed a hand on her head to look through her memories, only to be shocked at what he saw and felt. There wasn't just one soul inside of Jack, there were thousands of them. Tens of thousands of souls, all of them being young children, who all died too young or never even got the chance to be born. And Jack had somehow absorbed every single one of them. She's a daughter of Hades. Naruto thought, realizing Jack was a demigod and another child of Hades, one who had the power to absorb the souls of the deceased, a power she never was able to control, leading her to absorbing the souls of neglected, abused, and aborted children. Something that drove Jack mad from all the pain, sorrow, and loneliness they felt upon their deaths, pain that drove her to kill, to seek out their mother, and return to her. Leading Jack to killing dozens of prostitutes that she saw as her mother, to return to her. Jack the Ripper. Naruto muttered, shocked that he freed one of the most notorious serial killers in history. And all he could feel was pity and sadness for her, at having to endure all of that alone and unwanted, while only wanting to be cared about. But she was ultimately seen as a threat and was sealed away, while having seen that Artemis and the hunters actually did try killing Jack. Only for her to come back each and every time, as it only served to release the souls that were trapped within her, while she came back to life. Which is also the reason why her body looks so young and petite, since having all of those souls trapped within her, had essentially given Jack eternal youth and a form of immortality. And each time she returned, she killed more hunters, resulting in her accidentally absorbing more souls, due to her inability to control her powers, as a child of Hades. Until the only option left was to seal her away since she couldn't be killed. Nobody will hurt you again, I promise, said Naruto, while lifting Jack up and holding her close to his chest, with the girl subconsciously leaning into him, for once feeling at peace with this new warmth around her. Time skip 3 days. 3 days have passed since Naruto freed Jack, who wasn't only a daughter of Hades, but the infamous Jack the Ripper, while having a much sadder origins than one would think from such a renowned killer. With Naruto having made sure to let Neko and the girls know that he was on a mission from Chaos. Annabeth, Bianca, Thalia, and Andromeda contacted him after discovering that he was no longer in bed with them the next morning. Nor at the camp, as a whole, at the moment. He had also gotten him and Jack a hotel room, while covering her with his guide top, since it wouldn't do to draw such attention with her being half naked, not to mention all the knives she has on her. Though once Jack had woken up, Naruto was surprised when she didn't freak out or panic. She merely looked at him before smiling and hugging him, while still calling him her big brother. Seemingly having imprinted on him for saving her, as well as due to what she's experienced in her life. With Naruto then explaining how long she's been sealed and what's changed, with Jack taking it all in stride, as she felt safe with her new brother. Afterwards, he had taken her out, both to get her some food, familiarize herself with the new time period she's in, and to get her some new clothes. With the first two going fine, but Jack vehemently denied getting new clothes, since she likes her regular outfit. Luckily, they were able to compromise with Jack wearing a tattered black coat as a cloak over her attire, which while drawing some looks, didn't get as many as her regular attire would. Though one thing that Naruto was really surprised by, was that every night, Jack would get into bed with him and snuggle into his side. Which, while surprising, Naruto didn't fault her for or try to stop her, since she has just been unsealed and probably feels safest near him. Now though, it was time to return to Camp Half-Blood, as while Naruto didn't care if the gods found out he was gone, he'd prefer not dealing with the hassle of them coming after him. Ready to go, Jack? Naruto asked while looking at the killer lowly, who nodded. Yes, big brother, I'm ready, replied Jack, smiling while wrapping her arms around his waist, with Naruto placing a hand on her back before placing 2 fingers on his forehead. Then the next moment, both of them disappeared in an instant. Camp Half-Blood. When Naruto and Jack reappeared, it was right in the middle of the dining pavilion during breakfast, making everyone jump at their sudden appearance, along with the sight of Jack with Naruto. With Artemis and her older hunters pulling at the sight of Jack, recognizing who she is, while feeling terrified that she was now free. Naruto, where have you been? Bianca asked, as she, Neko, Annabeth, Andromeda, and Thalia got up and went over to him. What kind of mission did Chaos send you on? And where did you go? Annabeth asks, since they weren't given the details on where Naruto went, or what Chaos wanted him to do. And who's the kid? Asked Thalia while looking at Jack curiously, who in turn looked at them curiously, before her eyes fell on Bianca and Neko, as they widened in amazement. This is Jack. I met her a few days ago, after Chaos sent me to free her from her prison. Isn't that right, Moon Brat, said Naruto, as he gave Artemis a glare, making some campers glance at the moon goddess. She's a demigod, Andromeda asked. That's right. In fact, said Naruto, before stopping short when the familiar black and gold helmet appeared over Jack's head, shocking everyone, especially Bianca and Neko. Bianca, Neko, Jack are your sisters. Naruto said, before Jack smiled and hugged Bianca and Neko tightly. Big sister. Big brother, said Jack, as the siblings were shocked at learning they had a sister, before Neko grinned. Awesome. I'm a big brother now. Neko said while hugging Jack, with Bianca slowly hugging her as well. It's nice to meet you, Jack, said Bianca while smiling slightly, since it'd be nice to have a little sister. Technically, she'd be your big sister, since she was born in the 19th century in the late 1800s. But due to what's happened to her and her abilities, she's like that. Naruto revealed, shocking them again at hearing how old Jack was, before Neko looked at Bianca. Do all of Dad's kids come from different centuries, but all look young? Asked Neko, legitimately curious if they had more siblings in time distortion somewhere. I don't think so, Bianca said slowly, not entirely sure herself. Though everyone's attention turned to Artemis, when she got up and walked up to Naruto, with Jack returning to his side, and glaring at the goddess who sealed her away. Let me guess, you're hoping I'd change my mind, Naruto stated, knowing his answer hasn't changed, especially after learning what happened to Jack. Only for everyone to be shocked when Artemis, a virgin goddess, and the biggest man-hater in the world, actually fell to her hands and knees in front of Naruto. Please, I'm begging you to help me, I'll do anything you ask of me in return, Artemis pleaded desperately, having gone to his cabin multiple times since she first asked, but when she didn't get a response, she was terrified that Naruto simply left, and Apollo was doomed. But now that he's back, Artemis was desperate enough that she didn't care about her appearance or her pride anymore, only that he'd help her. All while Naruto smirked at the sight of the goddess begging on her knees, before looking around, and taking in the shocked expressions on everyone's faces. For those of you who don't know, it seems that Apollo has gotten himself captured by the Titan Atlas, and is currently holding up the sky. And Artemis here can't go save him because of her punishment, so now she's begging me to help save her brother, Naruto revealed, further shocking everyone while Apollo's children were worried and fearful at what happened to their father. And now she's offering to do anything I want in exchange for my help. Though given how you've wronged Jack by sealing her away nearly 200 years ago, I think it's only fair that she gets to decide. Jack, what do you want to make her do? Asked Naruto while looking at the killer, making Artemis look up horrified that he's asking Jack, terrified of what she'd say given their last encounter. With Jack smiling sadistically as she looked at Artemis before looking at the hunters and pointed at them. Kill. Jack stated much to Artemis's horror, while Naruto hummed in thought. I like it, and it's a fitting way of giving her a taste of her family's own medicine. You heard the girl, Moonbrat. I'll help if you kill all of your hunters right here and now. Put an arrow in each of their heads, and I'll go help Apollo, said Naruto, as Artemis shook in horror, along with some of the hunters, terrified that she may go through with it. I can't do that. Ask for anything else, just not that, Artemis begged, not wanting to kill her adopted daughters. Nope. That's what was decided upon. You want me to help you, then I want you to kill your hunters here, in front of everyone. Your choice, Moonbrat, your brother you've been with your entire life for your hunters, that you just end up replacing when they die, Naruto said, as Artemis looked between him and her hunters with tears in her eyes, unable to decide. As no matter what she did, she'd end up losing someone. But if she chose her brother, then she completely destroyed the faith that demigods have in their parents. That they'd know that no matter what, they'd always choose each other over their own children. But if she chose her hunters, then she'd potentially lose her twin, and one of the most important gods, with his dominion over the sun. Not to mention what some of the other gods would do, when they learned she chose her hunters over Apollo. No matter what option she chose, Artemis would lose. Me? Artemis shouted, startling everyone. What? Said Naruto raising a brow, as Artemis took in a shaky breath. If you agree to save Apollo, and spare my hunters, then you can have me however you want, Artemis said. My lady said so, horrified at such a thought, and what Artemis was doing, only to be silenced by Artemis giving her a warning look before the goddess looked back at Naruto. I'll even let you take my virginity, if that is what you want, said Artemis. And how do I know you'll uphold your end of the agreement? Naruto demanded, with the moon goddess taking another breath. I, Artemis goddess of the moon, wilderness, archery, forest, radiance, the hunt, maidenhood, and childbirth, swear on the river Styx to uphold my end of the agreement, between myself and the champion of chaos, Naruto Uzumaki. To give myself to him, however he desires. Should I break this oath, may chaos strike me down. Artemis swore with thunder overhead, signifying the oath was made, as everyone was completely shocked into silence. Artemis did this to prove to not only Naruto, her hunters, and to herself, that she'd keep her word, but that she genuinely cared about her hunters, as well. And didn't see them as disposable pawns to replace when they died. Though she shivered when Naruto walked up to her, and smirked at her. And if I told you to bend over right now, and present yourself to me, you do it? Naruto asked, making the goddess gulp, but nod. Yes, if that is what you desire of me, replied Artemis, before Naruto placed a hand on her cheek and made her look at him. Then be thankful, I'm not like the rest of the men, and even some women, in your family. And I won't take your virginity not until you want me to. Naruto said, whispering the last part into Artemis's ear, making the goddess's eyes whiten. And very well, I'll help you, said Naruto, pulling back, much to Artemis's relief and gratitude. Thank you, Artemis said, relieved he'll help her. Naruto merely smirked before he returned to his cabin to get ready, with Jack following him. The loli killer pouting at not getting to see any hunters be killed. And, thanks for watching my video, see you next time, till then sayonara.